Well, hello there and welcome to my workshop and welcome to another episode of my participation in the Jurgen Zoller Honorary Challenge. It's a bit of a chilly autumn day today, but we've got plenty to do in this workshop, so let's get on. I have a new piece of equipment today. Look at this. Look, I was watching Scott at Bonehead Guitars, and if you've not seen Scott work, well, he's an absolute master craftsman, and a lot of this guitar is based on design ideas that he has had. And well, I watched him and he's doing some intricate work, and he had this huge magnifying glass with a light round it. And well, I was out shopping the other day and I came across this magnifying glass, which is not quite as big as Scott's, but it's bigger than the one I had before. And it occurred to me I could make myself a little frame to hold the thing in so that I can do some intricate work myself. So I've decided I'm going to put my little mermaid on the headstock, and she'll fit just nicely there, just after the wave, if you like, of the different woods there. So that's what I'm going to start with today, I think. Now, I stuck this in the last video, but I've cut it out since, just off camera, and it looks reasonably good, but I think I'm going to put the mermaid in now so that I can cut the shape out with the jeweler's saw before I stick it onto the headstock itself. Right, well, I've stuck the mermaid down with some double-sided tape, and underneath that is some masking tape. Now then, I've tried to make sure that I'm avoiding any of the tuners. The tuners are there. She's below where the tuner's going to be. She's going to have the string going across her, but it's the thinner string, so that's okay. And also she's away from the edge, so I think that's a good position for her. I'm now going to mark it out with a knife. Well, this magnifying glass is certainly helping. I can actually see what I'm doing for once. Of course, I would have picked this shape, wouldn't I? I mean, not the easiest thing to cut out. What I'm trying to do is to score this tape so that when I remove the mermaid, I'm left with the hole where she was in the tape. Well, I've got a line to work to. I've just got to cut it out now. I don't know if you're like me, but I can't resist picking up a bargain when I see one, either in a supermarket or in a market. And a while back I came across this box of O-rings. Now, I mean, you know, you think, oh, they'll be useful for plumbing and stuff. But also, they have other uses. Just made this addition to my jeweler's saw. What do you call it? Jig? I don't know what you call it. And so I can put my magnifying glass in, just like so. And I'm thinking, what could stop that coming through? Ah, an O-ring. Look at that. So plonk that on there. And hey presto, we've got a magnifying glass. Now I'm going to have to drill a hole to get the little saw blade in. Just occurs to me that if I drill it in that hole there, I might actually be able to cut her out as a whole piece, which would then give me another little mermaid, wouldn't it? So let's give it a go. Yes, you saw it. I just drilled into my bench. Never mind. Okay. Well, this isn't going to work, unfortunately. No, I'm just going to have to cut it out as best I can. Well, this was easier said than done, wasn't it? I think I need to drill a few more holes. Well, I have my little mermaid in this veneer. Yeah, you will have noticed that a bit split off here, and I've managed to put it back on again. I haven't glued it. What I'm going to do now is pour some super glue in at the back here. Obviously this is going to be all stuck onto the headstock, so hopefully the whole lot should hang together okay. But yeah, that was a fiddle, wasn't it? But I've done it. I'll just wipe off the excess and let that soak in. It's quite thin super glue, that is. Yeah, it's coming through the joint there, so hopefully that should be alright. And hopefully this will look alright when I've put oil on it. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. That looks quite nice. Right, well, it's a new day in the office, and I think today I'm going to get this veneer stuck on the headstock. I'm also going to have a look at the dots for the fretboard and camera. I've been experimenting with these, so these are the first set of dots I made, which are just sort of straightforward. And here I've made some new ones where I've put a strip of veneer in there, but I've purposely gone a bit wonky with them all. I didn't really want them all in straight lines, so you've got the centre a bit of veneer veering off a little bit from the outside veneer. So in a bit I will get all those out of that wood and we'll have a look at them and see which dots we like. I'm also going to get this finished off as well, this sound hole. But first, let's get on with this. Now, when I cut this top piece out, I got a bit confused with all the lines and everything, so it's a bit tight, a bit tighter than I'd rather it be. I haven't got an awful lot of overhang, but I want to make sure that I am well covered. I think that's going to be okay. I also want to make sure that this line comes up from the bottom corner here, because I think that will look nice. Okay, let's get some glue on it. Right, so while that's curing, I'm going to have a go at this sound hole. Now, I just want to give a quick shout out to Scott at Bonehead Guitars. Now, I'm sure a lot of you who are watching will have watched Scott, and when he made the guitar for his son Kai's guitar, and you'll know that the design that I am using is a direct rip-off of Scott's design, albeit done in a slightly different way. But I mean, if you've not seen Scott work, a master craftsman, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a link in the description below. Go along and have a look at his videos, because he really is an inspiration. Anyway, let's see if I can get on and do something with this sound hole. What I want to do with this is thin the light wood down a little bit more, and then just shape this corner so that it looks more like a rounded end to that binding there. So not quite sure how to do this, but I think I'm going to start off with these diamond files. I think I'm going to make myself a tool. Just so happens I've already done that. Well, of course, I would have made my life a lot easier if I'd have put a thinner veneer on in the first place, but never mind. Yeah, I've gone wrong here a bit. I made it a bit too thin, so I've had to thin it all off. Do you know what? It's an organic shape. I don't really mind with this. When you look inside, you've got the white wood. When you look on the top, it's sort of like grey in places and white in others. Here needs to be filled, so I'm going to fill that with the lighter wood and then really cram it down there, and once I've done that I'm going to then just file this out a little bit more. But I think that's going to do. I tell you what, never throw anything away. This old bread bin comes in handy as my store of dust. Now what have I got in here? Pine, Zebrano, beech, oak, mahogany, cherry, looking for ash, Van Coal. That's not going to do it, is it? Ash, there it is, in the back. Magic. Okay, so my approach to this is to put a bit of dust on this plastic lid, spray it with a little bit of water, not a lot. Use some white PVA in the centre. Give it a good mix around. found by adding a bit of water it stops the wood going dark. If you do it with super glue, I found the filler goes really dark. This seems to work. Anyway, I'm just going to ram this in the gap, really press it down hard. Also going to flip it, do it on the other side as well. Get rid of that stuff there. Oops. It's a bit untidy on the back, so I'm going to just really cram some wood dust in there. What a mess I'm making, look at this. Wood dust everywhere. Of course, if anybody takes it apart in the future, then they'll say, oh well, it's nicely finished. Right, onto the dots. Let me see if I can fish these dots out of this piece of wood. Okay, so now I have a selection of dots, some a little bit strange with lines going through the middle at all sorts of angles and whatever, some just plain. So I think I'm going to use a bit of a mixture between all of those to create the dots on this fretboard. But before I do those dots, I think it's time for a cup of tea. And did I mention to you that I've actually got a novel out on Amazon? If you see my channel, you'll see I put out a video recently. 4 years in the making, this book, and I'm really pleased with it. It actually goes along with two other novels. The Dogworth Drop, which is a bit of a farce on Amazon about an English village that disappears. Now this one here is called Excess Baggage. It's a bit of a mystery set around Christmas. It's just a short story, this one. And this is called Entanglement, my attempt at a more serious novel. And if you're interested in sort of science, discovery, adventure, mystery with a twist at the end, this is the book for you. It's on Kindle and it's in paperback on Amazon, and there's a link in the description below. Cheers. Okay, for the dots, I've sorted some dots out. I'm just lining my template up with it so I know where the dots should be. So I think we're all okay with that one. So it's a question of drilling the holes now. So I've got a centre line down the middle there. I just need to work out the centre of each of these frets. So let's just do that. And just mark it with the awl. Okay, so I'll work through these now. Right, okay, so on the 12th fret I've got two dots, so what I'll do, I'll mark the centre, which is there. I'll use this protractor to do a centre line across the fret there. Get that in position. Now then, it's just a question, I think, of positioning these by eye, quite honestly, and then just working out what the measurement should be. Get that round the right way. That feels about right. But it's an optical illusion, but one looks closer to the line than the other. I think I'll do so I'm going to do it 1 centimetre away from the centre there. Just mark those two. Right, well, I've had a couple of goes at this. I started off by using a 7mm brad point bit, then I switched to this 9mm sort of standard bit. but unfortunately there's quite a bit of tear out. So what I decided to do was just to go straight in with this 9.9mm bit. It's very sharp, and do it really slowly. And to be honest with you, I actually get a better result there. I've gone through to the other side, which is why it pulled a bit. But I'm getting a better result by doing it that way. So that's how I'm going to do these holes. Now the downside of using this bit is that it's going to create a dip at the bottom of the hole, which I'm going to have to fill with something. Whether I can just put some glue in the bottom, or whether I've got to put some dust and glue in, I'm not quite sure yet. The other downside is, of course, it's not going to be quite as accurate as the brad point bit. Let's give it a go. Okay, I'm going to try fitting this first one, just to see how it goes. I'm going to use wood glue for this. I feel like that hole in the bottom there. I want these to go in at all sort of funny angles. Well, that looks reasonable to me, so I'm going to carry on with the rest. Another little job I need to do is to stick a bit of binding on the end of the fretboard here. Now I was going to try and be a bit clever here and do sort of little mitre joints there, but in actual fact what I think I'm going to do is just sink that in there. Yeah, I just have to cut the end off there. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I'm going to leave it to cure. Right, well I've rough sanded the top and I'm happy with the way that that's looking now. So what I need to do now is to mark where the nut is going to go, and to do that I just need to line this up and then mark a line across the top here and just cut this flush with that. So we're looking at the nut being about there. Now I am going to have to shape the end of this neck a little, especially where the headstock goes out, because it needs to be quite narrow there, and it's a little bit too wide at the moment, but that's not a problem. I'm going to do all the final shaping when I shape the neck, but for now I just need to cut this flush. And I've lost my centre line, unfortunately, so I've had to use the template to guide me. Now, I don't want to cut into the neck, if I can help it. It's getting loose. I think we'll do that with a knife. Smashing. Okay, so that's that. That will go onto there. Wonderful. Well, I feel I've got a fair bit of fiddly work done in this episode. I've got the sound hole lined, which I'm happy with. I've got the dots in the fretboard, and I think they're going to look really nice once it's all sanded down. And I've stuck on the veneer for the headstock and done some rough sanding on it. So in the next episode I'm going to have to carve out the access to the truss rod, fit the truss rod, stick the fretboard on, and then we can start thinking about carving that neck. I also need to think about fitting or cutting the holes for the pickups, which I'm slightly nervous about because I've got to get that in the right place before I can stick the top on. So there's still a lot to do in this series, so I hope you'll stay with me. Thank you once again for watching, and thank you for all your comments. I always reply to them and I'm really grateful for them. Great advice. Oh yeah, this is coming on. Anyway, see you soon, and in the meantime you stay safe. Cheers.